Hi, and welcome to the Scientistsage Sangha. My name's Nancy Anderson Dolan from Wise Heart Wellness Services. And I really had a lot of things that had to align so I could get on the wire today. And it did finally. And first of all, this idea of alignment is like the actual definition is that arrangements in a correct or appropriate relative positions of things. It really adds up to lots of things. Like your brain has to be in agreement with your emotions, etc., things like that. But also in a position of agreement or alliance. So it doesn't necessarily have to agree with everything, but we have to be able to get everything going in the same direction at the same time. And I find that's not always easy. And one of the things we don't do is we often don't stay in here right now because we don't like how right now is. And so we're doing things to try and get out of right now. And that causes us to loosen alignment. And it really, when we're out of that alignment, we're also out of what you might call flow. And I'm not going to go into deep science about this, but there's some interesting research studies about how when people are generating distressing emotions, they literally move out of lines of events that can help them and lines of thought even, because our thoughts become incoherent. It's like when you put sand or some material like that on a metal plate and tap it. What happens is it actually forms some sort of design, and not a design of our choosing. You tap it and it just forms a design. And so there are things that happen in this flow that we're not in control of. And in the email that I sent out to describe some of the alignment ideas today, it really talked about how control was a problem for alignment because we're thinking ahead. We know what needs to happen over here. But when we're in there, we miss sometimes what is happening and we'll go in that direction. And so we also have to be at home, literally at home in our bodies. And that being at home is tricky for a lot of us. I certainly find that any given moment that I am something isn't working the way I think it should, or I can't find something, or I I get cold, and being cold makes me kind of anxious and things like that. And I get out of line. If I sit still long enough, like I did just before we started here, and someone said, yes, I get like this when I'm cold. And I thought, huh, there's the problem. I'm cold. I'll go get a sweater. And we can hear that nudge and act on it. And it doesn't, often we don't align the right things. We might be angry. Going and getting a sweater is not going to help me calm down from being angry, but it will help me settle down from being cold. So we have to be really at home in our bodies and at ease, or at least looking for ease in our bodies. Because when we're in that way, we're in the present moment. But when we're looking to have something be different right now and urgently, then we're not. And we miss those things. We're out of alignment. But we're going to talk a lot tonight about how to move forward. How do you do that? You have to, I have to have the intention to stand up and go to the bathroom, or I have to have the intention to go to school because I want to study some particular thing that I think I'd like. But really, what I'll tell you is it's a good idea to hold intention confidently and compassionately, but also loosely, letting the flow of life carry us towards the life that we're meant to lead. Because I know so many people that have put in so much time in universities, relationships, houses, things like that, and it turns out to not be what they really wanted. But they had an idea in their head and they're going to go straight towards it, and the path is like this, and it's not going to veer off. But often, when people have this veer off to where they think something not good is happening, it leads to something useful and more maybe different than what they thought, maybe better than what they thought, maybe it was something they didn't even like. But often they find out further down the line that this was a useful detour. And it was in alignment with what they wanted and needed, but they couldn't see it from where they were. So this is an interesting thing to work with because we like concrete things. We like for sure things, and we don't want to be in this flow of what do you mean? It might, happen differently than I think. But this there's a lovely man, Nick Polisi, and he has a great blog about this that I'll put up in the discussion notes from this meeting. He talks about actual spiritual alignment, or it's really like universal alignment with the energy of the world as it's rolling around. And doesn't suggest control, but he does suggest working with your body to relax and reopen, to realign. And he talks a lot about body misalignment indicators, things like fatigue and restlessness and shallow breathing or trouble breathing, difficulty concentrating, irritability, reactivity, sadness, depression, all sorts of things like that, that we can go, oh, I'm having that. And this may be a sign of misalignment. And I say maybe because it's not unreasonable to have difficulty concentrating if there's loud noises around you, or you're sad, of course, when you've had a loss of some kind. But these are things that are coming up out of nowhere. And it's useful to pay attention to what's going on. Why am I so irritable about the neighbor next door today when he does the same thing every day and I'm not usually irritable about it? So it really is useful to pay attention and look at some of the kinds of things. He's talking about how you settle down in your body. And he talks a lot about water, which a lot of shamanic practitioners talk about. It's one of the things that from the beginning of time that has been used to cleanse, clean, and clear. And things like that that are basic to us, putting our feet on the ground in nature, being outside, it often helps our body reset. And that's what we're talking about. The deeper part of our body that we can't necessarily understand in even words. There's a technical term called a, a brain predictive protective indicator. And you don't need to know that word. All it is that your brain notices things as you live and it keeps a little file in the back. And if it happens, something happens, it'll say, well, just a minute. I'll go look in the files. There is something, I've had some experience with this and I can predict what's going to happen next. And it's it's leaning towards things that will take care of your safety. So a predictive, protective moment, a nudge in your body, make you feel uncomfortable or irritable, all those things we talked about. But we have to just sort of let the sensation move through our body so that we can let it come up and clear. And then we can see, looking around, is it really, do I need to be afraid of the neighbor? No, I don't. I'm having an odd feeling, but I don't need to know what it is. I just need to let it move through. So if I can pay attention to sensation and let it move through, and I encourage people to just ask, literally ask whatever you think is out there that might help you, a higher self, divinity of some kind, whatever it is, just to ask to be shown, ask to know if this is important, do I need to pay attention to this? It really can be helpful to open up and just go with that. Even to ask, how can I be more present in my body? Things like that that will just add up to a whole bunch of different tools. And you can use things like particular scents. There's aromatherapy has been used for thousands of years as well to just open us up to something. And things like having trouble with shallow breathing, doing all sorts of different kinds of what I would call expansive or coherent breathing techniques. And all it is that our modern breathing, often we don't breathe well. And so much to the effect that we have a lot of people that have to be on machines to help them breathe, and not the ones just in the hospital with an iron lung, but people that have really a low drop in oxygen at night because they don't breathe well. Lots of things, tension, distress, old trauma. It can hold your body too tight, and so you don't breathe well. So as you breathe and fill your lungs and your diaphragm, your body relaxes and comes home, and you're more able to feel in alignment. And often those kind of breath techniques can also get rid of fatigue. And they're sort of clearing it out and energizing your cells, because every time you're breathing, you're putting energy into every little cell that's in there, and you feel different. You feel, oh, and the feeling is often, oh, things are okay. I have some energy. I'm not feeling awful anymore. I'm not feeling afraid. I'm not feeling frail. All sorts of things like that change. And then I can think about things like, what do I want to be really doing right now? Or, am I enjoying how my life is going? And I encourage people to look at their routines, the routines that they have. Are they hard to follow through on? Are they getting what you want out of them? Are they useful? And if they're not, then it's like they're not good routines. And people are like, well, I have to clean the house and I have to do the grocery shopping. I'm like, well, you really, really might want to consider how you can enjoy doing those things, or at least be at ease while you're doing them. I, um, I've been known to clean things aggressively. And it's just like, I don't want to be doing this. It's just not in alignment. And I have been known to like knock over a bag of flour and make a more mess that I got to clean. Yeah, that's out of alignment. But when I am just relaxing, I'll put music on, I'll clean my house. I'm having a lovely time. I emerge from that kind of thing feeling more rested, more at ease than I went into it. And so this idea about alignment and asking in when we're having moments where we're not feeling aligned, meditation is a useful thing to do. And meditation is simply calming my body so my mind can expand, and asking for questions about, why do I feel out of alignment? What am I supposed to be doing these days? What am I really going to feel good with? Because often we think the answer to this question is the answer to a whole bunch of questions in my life for the rest of my life. Rarely, rarely is it like that. That will take you out of alignment. But we like surety. That answer worked so well for something else. It should work for this. And I really I caution people, because sometimes we'll find out an answer and we'll try it, and something we didn't think we wanted to happen. But that's not necessarily taking us out of alignment. It might be taking us into better alignment, but we're not always aware of what's going on. So we get a little concerned about that. So that's just a fair warning that it won't always take you where you think you're going. And there's some questions he asks, that he suggests that we ask ourselves. He says, where am I being reactive? Do I wake up in the morning and like, the sun's up? Yeah, that's an odd thing. That's not how we want to be waking up. What am I resisting? I have a friend that would go on holiday and it might rain on their holiday, and they would be so distressed and trying to resist that. And it's like, yeah, resisting weather really is, uh, not useful. And we might be unforgiving of something. And this can be even big things, world events, or the neighbor next door, or, something, I've lost something, or something is broken. And I might be resisting that fact. If I'm not in acceptance or on the way to acceptance, okay, doesn't mean I have to go, oh, I had a car accident. And, oh, it's okay. I had a car accident. We don't get there that fast. But it really is about turning towards it and just going, oh, this feels hard. This feels really, really hard. And that's how we feel, not how it is. Running around saying, I shouldn't have had a car accident. I shouldn't have had a car accident. That's not useful. Running around going, oh, I'm feeling like awful because I feel like this. And yeah, okay, you're with the feelings and move them through. So there's an energy that we need to move out of the way that keeps us out of alignment. And it could be like going into a whirlpool when you're canoeing or kayaking, where you can't steer your boat in the direction you want to go. And you don't stop trying, but you open to some other possibilities because it's not working what you're trying. And so, and if you get really distressed and just do what you're trying to do that's not working more and more and harder, it gets worse. And often we create bigger problems than one we might be sitting with. So, this idea of relaxing into it, noticing where we're resisting, notice where we're unaccepting and where we're controlling and worrying, even that is challenging. So, this idea of checking through your routines, if you're doing something consistently that is any of those things, it can be problematic. I would get like that about shoveling snow a bit. And I would just go, okay, here I am resisting having to shovel snow. And okay, I'm going to relax into this. And sometimes the boys next door get out with their snow blowers and do it for me. Like, yes, there's the alignment. But sometimes it's like, okay, Nancy, you know what you have to do when you're in this resisting kind of thing. You can put your, earphones in and get your heated gloves on and go outside and shovel, and you like the activity actually. And so it's making space to be okay with it as opposed to ignoring that I'm not okay with it and forcing myself into it. That's not a good way to get into alignment. So all of these things, we pay attention to what we can do and how we can do things and how we can orient things. And it doesn't mean that you're not ever going to worry or try and control or be erratic again. You will be. But this is really useful. And Nick Polisi talks about a lot. These are opportunities to evolve and explore because we might, oh, okay, this used to work, or this thing has come up and might change my focus and direction in my life quite a lot if I let it, if I look into it. So don't assume that things before are problematic. Don't assume what's happening is problematic. Just stay with it. And then in shamanic places, there's taught always to ask for guidance and then go about your day expecting. And so a lot of people are like, I've sat down for 10 minutes and I don't know yet. I don't have the answer yet. And it's like, no, you might have to ask for a few days and sometimes a few years. But as you go, you are getting more and more aligned. And the idea about that, it really is um, a trial and error. People don't like that kind of thing, but it's an exploration. So if nobody had explored up north, we wouldn't know what happened up there or across the ocean. We wouldn't be here. So it is really an exploration. When I wanted to find a counselor early in my days, uh, getting sobriety and abstinence and things, I was like, I'm going to find the best one. And I went to a lot of very difficult people that didn't work out that well. And then one night I went out for coffee with a bunch of other people that were looking to get well. And they were all going to the same counselor. Everybody at the table was going to the same counselor. And I'm like, give me the number. And she was amazing. And she was just perfect for me. Someone that had the experience and the issues that I needed to deal with and could work with me in a way that I could manage. Even like financially, emotionally. She even didn't live too far from my house. Everything fell into place. And I knew that I needed help, but I was trying to control it and do it my way. I want to see all your credentials. What are you going to make me do? Are you going to make me say or do anything I don't like? It didn't work. And then last week, there was no Sangha because I was having some adventures and trying to control my technology. And one day my computer didn't work and I took it to somebody and they said, oh, you got to get a whole new motherboard. And I'm like, buy a whole new computer for that. So away I went and I bought a new computer and it came the very next day and they set it all up and I'm like, ha ha. And then I opened it the next day and it didn't work. And so I packed it all up and sent it all back. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then my phone started smoking and sparking. And I'm like, this is not good. What am I going to do? And so I just like, okay, I took it to the guy that I normally go to, who's been marvelous for me. And he said, oh, I don't, if I can fix it, I'd have to order a part. It would be a week. I was like, no, you don't understand. I can't get into anything. My old computer is broken. If I try to get on a new computer, it sends messages to my phone so I can get into the new computer. I can't get into it. My life is over until I get this sorted out. And then I was just so wound up and distressed, you can imagine. And I run a business off my computer, and no one could get hold of me because I had no phone. And so finally I sat down and I went to my sister's house and just looked up some phone places in my area. And just, just a couple. It was like, no, don't do any more than that. Don't look for the best one. You've been trying that. That hasn't been going well. And I went up to this place and went in, and this woman said, I leave it with me for a while and come back. No, she said, I'll phone you actually. And I said, you can't phone me. I don't have a phone. I said, okay, I'll give you this other number. I'll go back to my sister's house. And leave it, just leave it. And I'm waiting, and I'm doing a jigsaw puzzle actually because I can't do any work because I don't have a computer or a phone. And so then she didn't phone me back. I'm a little worried. So I get in my car and I go up there and I'm like, I need to know because I need to do something about this in my controlling kind of way. And she said, oh, here it is. I just took the piece that was stuck in there out and it's charging. Here you go. I said, oh my goodness, what do I owe you? And she said, nothing. There's nothing to be repaired. No, really. And I was curious about this, but I'm like, oh, it was smoking and sparking. Anyway, turns out it was fine. And I went back the next day and checked her website, and they looks like they did computers. So I ran back up to that place with my computer. Said, "Can you do anything? Can you resurrect this too?" And she said, "No, we don't have the right techs right now. The ones that are experienced enough." I said, "Can you tell me anybody you might?" And just go down, not very far, and near my house again. And I go in there, and I say to the guy, I'm expecting to hear the same thing, and maybe things too far gone. And he runs around a little bit in the store. And about 3 minutes later, he says, no, it's just the charging cord. What do you mean it's just a charging cord? Yeah, the guy said the computer was toast. I said, oh, look at, see, you use this cord and it charges right up. Oh, yeah. I said, do you have one of those cords? And he said, no, but I can get one by tomorrow. Okay, then. So this was literally, I had to be brought to my knees to do the full surrender, but it really was. What's next? And I still couldn't believe it. The day after I was like, yeah, no, he's got it wrong. The other guy's right. Oh, yeah. But I'll just go anyway. The sheriff got the new court computers on. We're talking on that computer. And that's just such an amazing alignment. And it's very funny because often when I'm doing these topics, I get some real life experience to share with you right before it. But that was really it. I had finally just let go. I'd been sitting with myself and said, you're being too controlling, you're way too anxious, you're pushing, it's not going to work. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go to the timeout room and do a puzzle, and then we'll see what'll happen next. But we're not saying I can't do anything about that. I just won't, it's you literally keep that in mind and you listen and you listen and you listen. And when I was even just looking for places in my neighborhood to take my phone to, really was, guide me to the right place, and the right place might have been someone that said, no, this isn't fixable. And then I could just move on and get new phone. But it happened to be this thing that I suspect I just really needed the lesson that clearly to remember this sort of thing. And literally, I have a word for the year, and my word for this year is listen. And it isn't so much listen outside myself as inside myself. And so I really encourage you to think about doing listening when we are thinking about this sort of thing. So taking care of your body, paying attention to the messages in your body. So important. Getting, your body may say, I need a drink of water. And that water may help your brain think better. And so that alignment of our body with our life, with our feelings, with our thoughts, it really, really helps. And anything you do, like even just, flexing your body back and forth or going for a walk or doing those kinds of things. The last thing I would encourage is rituals to release fear, control, that kind of thing. When you're holding on so tight, and it is really useful to do that because it isn't that there's any particular ritual that has the magic amount of energy. It is our intention and what our body, our brain and body are listening to each other. And we say it with our brain, and our body over here says, oh, we're not going to worry about this anymore. Oh, okay, we'll just go on over here. And often when people are able to do that with illnesses and that they experience a improvement in the illness or peace with the path of the illness. And so either way, they get better alignment. And so this idea about it is human nature to try and control things. And we have to pay attention to that. Of course, we're going to. But we can rewire our practices to be in alignment in a way that we don't have to go so hard at the wall before we hit it and find out we can't walk down that path. So this idea, noticing that you're not necessarily in control, you're moving along, and we don't get all the outcomes we want. That isn't what it's about. It's not like when we're in perfect alignment that it's all good. Alignment is this balance between over here, this discomfort, and over here, this comfort. And so, wait, I have discomfort, my phone didn't work. And over here, I find it comforting to reach out. And I'll reach out to people. This woman, okay, she may be my new best friend that fixed my phone. And, just that kind of connection, because sometimes the person we feel, we want to connect with is helpful. Sometimes it's not. And it leads us to another person, another idea, another practice, etc. So be open with it, but feel that alignment. So if you feel like you're tipped over too far to the comfort side, that's called addiction. Come over here, it's called control. And so you want to be somewhere in the middle. And it's a thing that goes back and forth like this all the time. We don't have to, we can't stay in that perfect alignment all the time. That's not the kind of life that humans live. There's changes all the time, every day. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and we're just going to stop or end with a meditation about this reaching flow and how it feels in our bodies, and just noticing the discomforts that might distract us. So if you're with me live, feel free to go off camera. And if you're watching this later on, get comfortable as well. And for the people watching, I'll see you in a minute after the meditation for the discussion. Okay. So just literally listen to your body. What does it need to do to relax? Does it need to put a blanket on, take a sweater off? You need to shift your body in any way. And literally what you're looking for is the most relaxation you can get in the space that you're in, and just in this moment. Because if you have to go outside and build a tent and put a bed in it, it's going to take too long. So it really is this moment in my body. And this is good, like if you're sitting on the bus or in a grocery store, this moment, what can I do to be more comfortable? So in that idea of relaxation, not obliteration of any distress, just relaxing into my body. And literally, our body might tell us, oh, I gotta move my neck a bit and feel some alignment. Or maybe I want to rock back and forth. And that feels very aligned and comfortable for me. So you pay attention to little things, like if you have to get a drink of water, if you feel moved to put your hand on your chest, sometimes that's really stabilizing and comforting. So your body might ask you to do that little exploring. And then just to open up and ask. Ask about, are there places in my life that I could be more aligned? Take a deep, slow breath and just let the information come in. It could be about what you eat, what you wear, what you're doing for work. Could be troubleshooting a problematic relationship. It could be a change in something you don't see as any kind of issue. It could be you need more time in darkness or more time moving. Or creating a simpler routine when you first get up. And I'll encourage you to let ideas float through your mind. And sometimes we have a list of self-improvement things we should do. If there's a bunch of things from that list popping into your head, not necessarily the alignment direction you're looking for. Often, alignment suggestions are novel to us, or they're small, not like pick up and move to another country. They're different for everyone. You might see images, you might hear words. Different people get information differently. And as we end the meditation, just ask and confirm that you'd like to receive ongoing information, sort of like a cosmic coach, throughout your day, throughout your life, where you could move into more alignment. Move into more flow, less force. For the people that are watching later, I am with you, you are with me. Blessed be. Good night and thank you.